Rob?
Yes, we are.
Okay, good. So I was telling these guys, I said, I got a haircut this couple days yesterday? Yesterday. It's been yesterday, yeah. So, you know how you like to meet people, and I'm shy, terribly shy, so I'm trying to get over that. And so, anyway, I was chatting with her a little bit. And so you do the usual stuff. I said, well, how long you been cutting hair? She goes, oh, about 6 years. Do you like it? Eh. Okay, good. I got somebody who doesn't like what they're doing cutting my hair. I got people I'm going to see tomorrow, you guys. So, hi. So anyway, we're going a little bit, and she goes, and finally I'm like, so do you want to know what I do? Oh yeah, we were starting off, this was good. And so she goes, well, sure. And you hear the girl cutting hair right next door. She starts laughing. And she's cut my hair before, so I know her fairly well. And she's got twins as well, and we share twin stories because they're an adventure. And so I said, yeah. I said, tomorrow I get to, the reason I'm getting my hair cut, I said, I want to look good. I said, or at least as limited as God gave me the canvas, so I'm hoping you'll help it out a little bit. It's a little, not much there, but help do what you can. I said, but so I'm going to be teaching people about how to not get cancer. If they get cancer, how to defeat it. She goes, oh. Not there. So anyway, I proceed to go digging a little further with her a little bit. I said, so have you ever known anybody with cancer? She goes, oh, I've lost quite a few people. So really? I said, name some. She goes, oh, she started naming. And she got to, I don't know, like 4 or 5 people. And I'm like, wow. I said, so you must have a lot of interest to learn how to not get cancer, right? I mean, she's got family history. There was a cousin, her sister had cancer, right? I mean, they talk about that the genetics, right? We can get genetic cancer. How many heard that line of garbage? We'll get there. And so she goes, no, not really. She goes, and I go, why is that? And she goes, well, I just, if I got cancer, I do whatever the doctor told me to do. Like, well, aren't you interested in, like, not getting it? No, if it's going to be, it's going to be. I said, I'm teaching tomorrow how to not get it. She didn't get it. Right? I mean, it's just, and so I'm telling that story because there's 2 parts of what I'm going to ask of you. Right? I mean, some people contributed and we give money towards Fuel Hope, which is eliminating human trafficking. So if any of you gave us some money, we didn't ask, we didn't make it a big deal. Some did, some don't. I appreciate the ones who do. But any contribution, some to have an office, but a lot of that money goes towards eliminating human trafficking. It's a rampant thing. Millions of kids, mostly girls. My girl, I have twins, like I mentioned. They're 11. The average start for human trafficking at the age of 10. I can't imagine. I just can't imagine my little girl servicing 10, 15 men in a day, drugged out, doing that kind of stuff. So we contribute towards that. So if you're wondering, just to give a little background on us. But I'm going to give you a little background on me so you know why I'm teaching what I'm teaching, and hopefully I can give you a little credibility to what I'm teaching. Fair enough? Mm-hmm. My background's really simple. We were talking about how life, we go through changes. And we go through a lot of them, right? I mean, I talk about it. Matter of fact, I made a joke about it a little bit earlier. But there was a certain age of my life where girl germs, bad juju, right? You go to the playground. I have kids that I coach. But the first year I coached them in traveling basketball, girls, ew. And you'd hear them. And you'd hear 6, 7, 8 of the 10 boys would be like, ew. And I'm like, don't you think she's cute? Ew, right? Some are 9, some are 10 at this age. They're now 11. I go, is she cute? Hold on. Right? And they got the little neck going, You're like, yeah. You don't even see what I'm talking about. Doesn't matter. It's a girl. We change, right? And we go through stuff. For me, when I went through school and I was in college, I had a professor who inspired me. He was absolutely one of those people that you are magnetized by. And there are certain professors, I think if you've ever been to college, you know what I'm talking about. They just have, it wouldn't matter. They could teach the most boring class and make it interesting. And so his name was Harold Risk, and Harold was a brilliant, brilliant human being. And for whatever reason, he liked me. I don't really like the fact that I wouldn't status quo, and I didn't just study. I'd go in and study, and I'd test him. So we'd have a subject, and I'd study outside the subject or controversial things within it. And we would have debates during class, and I would be well prepared, and we got to like each other, and he inspired me to get into medicine, and I had pursued going into medical school and got accepted. And then I found out that they give drugs for everything. And I was raised on a different belief system. I'll give an example. We didn't take aspirin. When we were out in the alfalfa fields doing, baling hay and doing that, we would find, if we were sore, we'd go find the spring versions of alfalfa. You know what the spring is? The younger, you got alfalfa that you cut, and then there's the other young stuff that isn't cut, and that'll be the next growth. You'd find that and you chew on it. And pretty soon whatever is hurting you didn't hurt anymore. And then I heard things like an ounce of prevention beats a pound of cure. So all of a sudden I'm in classes, and I wanted to go see what medical school is like, so I would go in and I would sit in on classes, which you weren't allowed to do, but some of the people who know me know I tend to push the bar a little bit. So I would just sit in and they go, "Who are you?" And I'm like, "I'm Brian." "You supposed to be in this class?" "Well, I'm here." And they wouldn't kick me out for whatever reason, so I got to stay. And all of a sudden I'm seeing all these drugs, and I'm seeing drug companies where they would talk about the different ways to treat things, but they're always sponsored by. We're in college for class. If they're sponsoring, why do you think they're sponsoring medical students? Anybody got an idea? What's that?
Push the drugs.
Push the drugs. Why else are they sponsoring?
Make lots of money.
To make money. They were investing in their future, because if they trained the doctors, and that's the only thing they know, that's the only thing they will teach. When my kids were 9, the only thing they knew was girls were what? Ew. At 11, they already knew girls were ew. You'll only know what you know. And so if that's the only way, and I can't follow that, and I sat down with my professor, I sat down with Harold, I went into paramedics, and was a paramedic for a while, took a call from my best friend, watched him die, and I said, I think I can find a different profession, and left that. But I had a passion for this. And then what happened with supplements, really simple, is I started taking nutrition classes. Okay, I'm giving you a little history. And I had my first degree was psychology and counseling. I loved working with kids, still do. I still do a lot. I did a lot with at-risk kids, suicidal kids for years, even though I've never wanted to die. But God's got a weird sense of humor. He kept putting me in a way. Hold on to that. And so I'm working with these kids, and I found out most of the kids I was working with in suicide were having eating disorders. And I had no idea how I could work with them mentally. I could talk about a passion for life. I could talk about how to get over a boyfriend. That was easy. I'd just go to the mall. Let's go to the mall. Let's find some. And they're like, "What? Go to the mall. You're the weirdest counselor I ever met. Let's go to the mall." And we'd go, and I'd point out all these different guys. I go, "He looks single. He looks single." Pretty soon you get a different perspective. Fair enough? And I was not a traditional counselor, and it worked, and I did that for years. But all of a sudden I'm in these nutrition classes, and they start telling me, you can eat right. You can eat right. How many heard that line of crap? Excuse my boldness. Because the reason I say it's so bold is because studies show that it can't be done. So remember I gave you a background, I said I love to study outside the realm of what we're being taught. So they kept telling me you can eat right. So I started looking at studies that I could go in and debate with the teacher. And I started reading all these studies, and they all kept saying they did 2,000 students, 500 students, they did all these people in senior homes, and they gave them prescribed foods, but when they did urine, fecal, hair, and skin analysis to find out if they were properly nutritioned, none of them were properly nutritioned. But yet we're being told we can eat right. So I'm like, there's a controversy here. So I sat down, I remember her name, I sat down with Kathy, and I said, "Kathy," I said, "here's what I'm seeing. This is a study out of this little school called Harvard." No, you probably never heard of it or ever teach there. And I didn't say that to her then, but later I did because we got in an argument. So I said, "Here's another one, here's another one, here's another one." I'm going, all these studies are saying what you're teaching is not true. I said, "I want to get an A, because at this point I said I've had, a couple years of straight A's. I want to get an A in your class. But in order to do that, I've got to say things that I know are not true. And that was 20-some, nearly 30 years ago. I'm 49 years old. I turned 50 in April. And I go, so I'm in my mid-40s. It's in the middle of 50 and 40. You want to know where that comes from?
I'm holding the bat.
You're holding the bat. That's right. You get the, it's going to be you or him in a little while, not too far away. And so what happened was I had this challenge, and I've been studying nutrition ever since. I've taught at different places. I had the opportunity to teach at some pretty major hospitals and universities, all those kind of things. Because what I'm teaching, I actually use the medical practice, I use that word practice, use their own findings so they can't argue with it. But it's going to be probably something you haven't heard. Okay? I'll go over a couple of things real quick. Kind of get you the right mindset. Drink a little smoothie here. Chinese proverb. Some of you like these Chinese proverbs. They're always really cool. I always like them because some of them are really dumb, but some are really good, and I like this one. The superior doctor prevents illness. A mediocre doctor attends to impending sickness. The inferior doctor treats the actual illness. So when we look at medicine in the U.S., notice how we do it backwards compared to other cultures. Other cultures, it's all about prevention, prevention, prevention. We have one of the highest cancer rates in the world. We actually have the highest rate that I'm aware of. I was trying to find the latest document to see if we hit number one. Haven't been able to find it, but we're definitely in the top in the world for cancer. Okay? They say that 1 in 2 people, and it's actually higher now, will get cancer. Okay? So 1 in 2. So I left it up to you. So is it you or is it him?
I don't know, you hang out with this guy a lot.
I do. But if you had a choice of you getting cancer and getting cancer, who is it? Who do you want, you or him?
No, I don't want it, but.
Okay. So it's he. Now, here's your, and I'm going to ask you to make a choice. Okay? So I'm going to ask you, moving forward, you have to buy in at least a little bit, otherwise the rest of the day is going to be difficult. Okay? So you have to buy in a little bit. There's 2 ways to go about what I'm going to teach. Okay? There's what we call medicine, and the way they practice it today. What is all the money going towards in medicine? Research. To do what?
Early detection.
Give more medicine.
To give more medicine. And what? Early
Detection.
detection. Okay? So I'm going to give you a mental image of what that is. Okay? So let's just say for a moment. Now, Heath, how much is this bet?
Oh, around $300.
About $300. Good one?
Yeah.
Okay? So what early detection is this. Did you detect it yet?
Oh yeah.
Now you're glad you picked him?
Yeah.
Yeah. And then they go, hey, we'll detect that early. And they go, you have cancer. We detected it early. Right? This is cancer, and he got hit with it. Yes, he has shin guards. For all your earthy people. Yes, I had that designed. That's what they do. And they go, early detection. Hey, we caught it early. What would be a better solution?
Prevention.
What's a better solution?
Get rid of the bad.
Get rid of the bad. Everything I'm going to teach you is about how to never get it. Or if you get it, reverse engineer it to get rid of it. Okay? The head of for years, and I'll give you the names in a little bit, but I'm going to go off record for a bit. For years, the guy head of chemotherapy, he was the guy, he was the head, he was the educator, he was the guy that go to different universities and hospitals and go, Tasha, I'm going to teach you how to do this. We're going to teach you how to radiate people so that there's a race. You're going to give chemo and radiation, there's a race. We're going to assume because cancer cells are weaker than healthy cells, that it's going to die sooner. That's the race. He now is on the other side saying chemo's never saved anybody. He was the head of it. You know what he's buying into? Get rid of the bad. Let me give you a little statistic. May shock some people.
Are you done
Okay.
hitting me?
Yes. You can take your shin guards off.
I'm not done.
Yeah. Okay. How many people think that cancer is preventable? Raise your hand. How many think that 50% of all cancer is preventable, and the other 50 is by chance? Is that a pretty good number?
Too small.
How many think that 60% of cancer is preventable and 40 is by chance?
Too small.
How about 80-20? 80% is preventable and the 20 is by chance. How many think that's a pretty good number?
Nice.
Way better.
How about 97% of all cancer is choice? You chose it through poor choices, and 3% is by chance. That's the actual number, by the way. 97% of all cancer. They say if all we did was change our diet and get off our butt at least 3 hours a week through physical exercise, we'd eradicate 60% of all cancer in the world overnight. Let me ask you a question. I warned everybody, I told everybody to warn you if you were a guest. So if they didn't warn you, you can yell at them later. But if 97% is preventable, why isn't Susan G. Komen teaching about prevention?
That's not her purpose.
I've raised thousands of dollars for Susan G. Komen over the years. I've done many events. I'm passionate about health. I really am. I love helping people, and of course that's, if you do know me, I don't have a shy bone in my body, and the more people the better. And so I love going to those events. You meet people and you meet survivors. I love to be inspired. You meet somebody who's whooped cancer's butt, which my wife's a cancer survivor. You meet somebody that's a cancer survivor or survivor. I want to meet them. I love to be inspired. I'm one of those guys. I'm just kind of I'm an addict. I've never tasted alcohol. I've never done a drug. I've never chewed, never smoked. Used to have an addiction to Monster drinks and Mountain Dew. Beat that. That wasn't much fun. It was a week ago. I quit. But if you know me, if I do quit some, I'll quit. I don't, you know, I don't go back to Mountain Dew. You know, I won't go back to Monster. I may have a new one later if there's a new drink that has caffeine, but not for a while. You get my point. I love to be inspired. But when I started researching these things, and yet Susan G. Komen doesn't teach one thing about prevention, and I started sending out, saying, I'm willing to teach. I've got professors, I've got different surgeons, I've got people that in a network of people, we're network marketing, and figured out, we sell vitamins and stuff. Small portion of what I'm going to teach today, so if you're wondering if it's a big sales pitch about our products, it's this much of this much, okay? So we can get that out of your mind. You will get some because science proves it, okay? And so, but you won't be inundated with that. That's not what today's about. It's about teaching you about how not to get something that's horrible. Cancer is a horrible thing, but people don't have to get it. They don't have to. And it's really not that tough to not get it. It really isn't. Like I said, if all you did was eat alkaline and get active for 3 hours a week, 60% of all cancers would be eradicated in the world overnight. That's it. That's it. So there's more to it, and I'll go through it. But I have to go through a few facts just to give you a little background. So I'll try to keep those a minimum because I'm not a big fat guy. I don't really like fact guys. Facts. I'm kind of a fat guy, but not fact guys. In 1971, Richard Nixon signed the National Cancer Act into law. It said X number of dollars every year will be donated to cancer research in eradicating the disease. 1971. What year are we in now? 2015. How many years is that? Where's my lightnings? How many? 44 years. Is he right? I don't know, I haven't added up. Sure, 44. 44. Inside joke. You had to see a YouTube clip. It was very funny. Jenna saw it 1,000 times. So 44 years. Let me ask you this. What great cancer development has happened? Do you know last year almost $12 billion went to cancer research? It is now a top 3 revenue producing industry in the world. Not revenue spent, revenue producing, mean profits. Profits. Its only competition, oil and insurance. Those 3 have been the top 3 for a number of years. Okay? So in 1971, 44 years, back then it was $100 million in an all-out effort to find a cure. 40 years later, there's still not even a percentage of people has gone up that get cancer. Not down. 2010, Americans spent $125 billion to treat cancer. Just Americans, that's not worldwide. 125 billion. Again, you're going to get me all fired up. 12 billion was raised for research. This is from Dr. Charles Majors. Okay, and I'll give you some who they are. He is on one of the boards for the entire Surgeon General board. There's a group of doctors that lead the Surgeon General. It's not one male or female. They're a figurehead. Okay, let me give you an example. I hold a role in this office, but there are a number of leaders that are in this office. Does that make sense? I don't think anybody would question. We've got, Becca's a leader, Jenna, Gus, Mike, Christina, Matt, you see where I'm going with it, Rob? We've got a number of leaders. I am a figurehead, not just the, make sense? So that's like the Surgeon General. It's a leadership group. He is on that, Dr. Charles. He said, you cannot poison yourself to health. This is a law. So in other words, poison is what? What's he making reference to? Chemo. He says, goes on to say, today's cancer treatments are the medical equivalent to fighting fire with gasoline. Okay? DNA damaging efforts of chemotherapy and radiation are the actual causes for other types of cancer within the body. So you may even get one, but notice how, I know for when my wife beat cancer, for years she had to go back and get these tests because they're going, look, you're likely to develop cancer again. Why is that statement true?
The environment of your body and choices, stuff.
Watch this. Say your name again, I'm sorry.
Kim.
Kim. So let's say, I don't mean to be horrible, but you're going to defeat it, okay? Well, let's say for a moment, Kim gets cancer. Let's look at traditional medicine, okay? They come up, and they say, we're going to beat the cancer out of you, okay? Because that's how literally chemo works. We're going to beat it out of you. We're going to find out where the cancer is by starving your body of sugar. Then we're going to reintroduce sugar with a dye in it so we know where the cancer is. That's how because cancer feeds on sugar. Now, if you've ever been to an oncology place and they have a waiting room, I literally made some phone calls to people who've been through it. And I said, did you ever go to one of those places that didn't have candy in the waiting room? Or donuts? Guess what their answer was? 100%. Every one of them. What's cancer feed on? Sugar. Yes, I had that same feeling. Okay, so Kim gets cancer. So what we do is we beat it out of her. We said, okay, we're going to beat it out. We're going to give you chemo, and there's a race, and Kim wins. The cancer dies before she does. But what didn't we address? How she got the cancer to begin with. They never teach how you got it to begin with. Because the cause is a cure. If Heath doesn't want me to hit him with a bat, because he doesn't have shin guards now, he really doesn't want me to, but if he really doesn't want me to get hit, what does he do?
I wouldn't have brought you the bat.
He takes the bat away, right? Hey, That hurts when you do it, especially without shin guards. I'm going to make sure that I don't get hit with the bat. So again, I'm trying to get you in a mindset, not that doctors are evil, not that this is something that we're trying to do and say that they're bad. I'm just saying that what they're not telling you is significant. Yes.
So is it just easiest to say that it's genetics?
Well, genetics is another way of testing. Where do they make their money? Ladies, let me ask a question. Seriously, and I want you to do this. Raise your hand. How many of you had a mammogram? How effective are they?
They have a high ratio of being wrong.
What's that? They have a high ratio of being wrong. Extremely high ratio of being wrong. Are they terribly comfortable? No, getting smashed in there. And I can tell, I had a lump, 2 of them, and so they said, well, we got to do that. And I'm going, really? Isn't there another way? The answer is yes. And but I went through it, and I didn't have it. But and so what happens is, what I'm going to do is, we're going to go with Kim and go, okay, Kim, we're going to reverse engineer cancer. One, we're going to find out how you got it, which is simple. We'll talk about how you get it. By knowing how you get it, then therefore we can eliminate it. I know if I get hit with a bat, that hurts. Get rid of the dang bat. Simple. Cancer is actually not as scary as we made it out to be. It is not, I'll tell you a quick little story. I went to being in network marketing, key word in that is network. I have a network. That's all we do. People say, well, how do you, people are afraid of the industry and all that, but it's just a network. People who buy, that believe in what we do, believe in the supplements we sell, that kind of stuff. Just a network of people, right? No in any other business. Bill Gates got a pretty big network, right? It's just computers and programming, that kind of stuff. So anyway, in the network, I quietly, because some people, Becca was there and Jenna was there, they didn't even know at the time. They didn't find out for months because I didn't want to scare people that I might have cancer. And I was scared. I didn't tell my wife. She's not watching the video, thank goodness. But I didn't tell anybody, and I kept it myself. But I started networking with friends. They got me to a very renowned doctor, and she was very well respected for breast cancer. And of course, that's what they thought I had because of where it was, and I didn't. And so we're in there, and I said, hey, look, and they do the whole smashing deal, and especially being a guy in there, you're sitting there and talk about feeling like a duck in a pond with a whole bunch of hunters. Because all these women are like, what are you doing here? Well, I think I might, I don't know, why are you here? It was terribly uncomfortable, like, not in part of this, and they don't make it comfortable on you guys. I don't envy what women go through and all that kind of stuff, and I had a small taste of one little piece of what you go through, and that's enough. But anyway, we're sitting there, and I said, look, let's just say for a moment I have it. What would you recommend? And she goes, well, that's simple. She goes, well, I can't, off the record, on the record or off the record? And I go, I'm an off the record kind of guy. I'm good with that. So she goes, well, first thing I do is I'd eliminate the soap that you use. I don't remember the exact order. So you've heard it in different orders, but I know the stuff, right? So the order may be different. But it was soap, and I'm like, you mean like soap, like hand soap? Yep, wouldn't use that. Laundry soap? Yep, wouldn't use that. If you can buy it in the store, wouldn't use it. Well, I know the first one was deodorant. That was the first one. I do remember that one now. So the first one she said to me, Tasha, she goes, if you can buy deodorant in a store that has a Mart name on it, or Get name on it, or any other traditional store, don't buy it. And I went, what? Now, I already worked with Naturex at the time, so I mean, I knew a little, but I didn't get into this side of it as much. So you're telling me that if I have it, the first thing you tell me, I do remember, that's why I remember, because I just got into the debate right away. First thing you tell me is eliminate deodorant that I'd buy at any other Walmart, Target, Walgreens, whatever, not to bash any stores, just any of these traditional stores. She goes, first thing I would do is throw it all away. And she, quote, now I've done the research, you'll hear in a little bit, but she goes, do you know the astronomical, key word in this, astronomical rise in breast cancer when they eliminated, or when they started incorporating the deodorants for women and antiperspirants in breast cancer? She goes, egg came out. Then he added another ingredient. This is her talking. This is off the record. Then it was soap. Then it was laundry soap. Eliminate sugar. Right? Eliminate dairy. Different thing. And I'm saying, why isn't this common knowledge? And part of it is, and again, it's the fear of cancer, one. And two is the lack of ability for somebody to put it together. And I can't take a lot of the credit for this because what I do is I've taken a number of books. I found a book. Matter of fact, they're doing a training with the same book at the chiropractor, I think tomorrow. The same book that I took a lot of the information from. But I've got information from a number of books. I'm not trying to sell that book, and I don't, and I won't. That's not what I'm here about. And, you know, again, like I said, even the side of nutrition, which we do for business, is a small portion of what I'm going to teach today. But it had a lot of really good information. Then I started documenting from there, adding to it, and I said, you know, I want to put it together, and then I want to have you guys, and this is where I'm trying to get all this around to, is my goal is that you take the 5 pillars, not only incorporate in your life, but share with others. That's why we don't charge for today. That's why, you know, again, some of you will get this, some of you won't. We're not the only supplement company that has some of these similar products, and I'm not here to say we're the only one. Is that a fair statement? I have, you know, being somebody in the nutrition industry, there's a reason I chose this company because of the products. It's not the pay plan. Our pay plan, it's okay. It's good. I mean, it's not great. Other companies have better, but I've never seen a better product. But we're not the only product. Does that make sense? So, okay, let's get through the facts and we get through the 5 pillars and then we can, okay. So the first thing you do if you get cancer, what's the first option they're going to give you? No, first option.
Oh, surgery.
Surgery. They're going to say, okay, Kim, we're going to take that lump out. First thing they do. And then we're going to monitor you. Okay? Where's the money? Is it in the surgery?
Really?
Where's the money?
Monitoring.
Monitoring.
Huh.
Almost no in, all profit. I mean, if you've ever been in the monitoring stage, they'll do the test, the doctor will come in. I talked to numerous people with cancer. They all say the same. Doctor will come in and they go, looks good. Whew. Then they leave. How do I know? I watch my wife go through it. I'd go in, especially in the early stage, I'd go in after the cancer. Because, you know, again, she had advanced cancer, so we were concerned that they didn't see all the areas that had it. Every time we'd go in, he'd come in and go, looks good. Whew. He'd leave. Those bills were astronomical. Pure profit. Crazy money. That's where the money is. That's why I said it's the top 3 revenue producing industry in the world. Number one thing, they're going to cut it out. The problem is with cutting it out, they didn't address what, Kim? The cause. If you don't address the cause, what's going to happen? So if nothing changes, see, here's the thing. Let me back up. You got cancer because you caused it. Let's just accept that right here. You didn't get cancer because, and I've sat with people, and I've even, you know, watched people die. So remember, I do some counseling and different things, and unfortunately that's happened. I've lost some friends. You caused it. And they cut it out. And if nothing changes, it's just a matter of time. There's no, you caused it, okay? And we'll talk about how that caused it in a little bit. But you got to accept that going in, and I'm going to keep coming back to that a little bit. Second thing they're going to do is what? You brought it up. What's chemo and radiation, okay? Basically, here's what they do. We talked about chemo is just a race, okay? They try to kill the cells. There are 2 cells. One's cancer, one's healthy. The cell lining for an unhealthy cancer doesn't have enzyme around it. Okay? A healthy cell has an enzyme around it, and therefore it dies quicker. Doesn't have that protection layer of enzyme. Okay? And so that's how that works. I'm not going to get too much into it. Some of you, again, if you've dealt with breast cancer, the number 1 treatment that they use for breast cancer is called 5-fluorouracil. I'm saying that right, if anybody's had it. If you want to know how it's spelled, it's F-L-U-O-R-A-C-I-L. or OURACIL. So if I'm off a little bit, my apologies. It's been used for 40 years. It basically incorporates fluoride, the toxic form of fluoride, not healthy fluoride, like which would be good for your teeth, but the stuff they put in toothpaste, that same stuff, which is not the same as this stuff. It's this stuff, not healthy fluoride, which is what they do the test for. It's the fluoride they put in toothpaste. They're completely different compounds. They use this stuff because it penetrates the cell so quickly. But here's the problem with it. It attacks system-wide. So the number one treatment that they give you for breast cancer is this stuff. They use fluoride, they attach it, it penetrates the cell just like bad toothpaste does. It kills human cells, both good and bad. It'll go through the enzyme.
And just in that area, or?
No, and throughout the entire body system. It's a race. So they already know that. There's lots of things that they can do better, but it's the most profitable. And I'm going to get into that. You can give me all credit. Okay. If you want to know where chemo came from, anybody know? Real quick. World War II. Anybody heard of mustard gas? Okay. It was a weapon, or excuse me, World War I. It began as an agent of death, but scientists saw how quickly it attacked and killed cells. Killed people. And then they figured, well, if it kills people, maybe we can direct it a little bit. And then that's where chemo came from. Okay. Dr. Ralph Moss, he's who I was talking about earlier, Ralph Moss, M-O-S-S, like Randy Moss, the former Viking. He's written 8 books on cancer treatment, and he's a graduate of New York University as a BA, cum laude, Phi Beta Kappa, also from Stanford, PhD in 1974. He reviewed thousands of studies, literal thousands of studies as part of his research for his books. He didn't find a single study that showed chemotherapy cures cancer. Not a single one. Okay. Again, I hate to bombard you with this, but we'll get to the good stuff in a little bit. This is a little painful for me to even get this analytical. It's not my nature. If you do choose radiation or chemo and radiation, okay. So let's say that you know somebody with cancer and you want to teach them if they're going to go the chemo route, okay. You want to have them go what's called IPT, insulin potentiation therapy, IPT. Okay, what that is really simple. IPT, they'll know what it is for type of radiation. What they'll do is, let's say that you have cancer here. They literally direct it to the spot, and how they figure out where the spots are of cancer, like I talked about. They'll literally take, let's say that Tasha was the one that had it. They would say, Tasha, we're gonna give you basically a fast for 2 days, and then at that point, then we're gonna inject you with a whole bunch of insulin. Which what does insulin then do? Anybody know? Takes more sugar out of the body. Okay? And now the body is depleted of sugars. What's the number one thing that cancer eats? Sugar. And it will get it first. So then they're going to inject her with a dye, and then they find out exactly where the cancer is. And at IPT, then they send the chemo to that area. If you're going to get chemo, that's the one you want. It's more, you've got to ask for it. Most of the local oncology places, it's not something that they first go to because it's not as profitable. It is more service oriented instead of just giving you chemo and letting you go and come back. It's more, you have to be more hands-on with that because they test you that sugar as you move on. Because as hopefully the cancer is shrinking from it, then they need to get in there again, so they'll do the test several times through the process. Okay? So if you do have it, that's what you want to do.
What is PT?
IPT. It's called insulin. I'll spell it. POTENTIATION. Therapy. IPT. And all the different people I've talked to, they just call it IPT. They don't call it anything else. So, so if you're going to do it, now, if you have cancer, know that cancer cannot overwhelm a healthy person. Okay? So know that sentence. You want to write that down. Cancer cannot overwhelm a healthy person. We get introduced to cancer several times in what's called a quarter of your life, or these 4-year segments. They call them quarters, I don't know why, but different books call them different things, but we'll just stick with quarter. These 4-year increments, you might get cancer once or twice, but if you're healthy, you defeat it. So we need to define healthy, okay? So, and we'll do that throughout the day, but again, this is that same guy went through all this. He said cancer cannot overwhelm a healthy body. Cancer does not make you sick. This is the same guy. He says cancer does not make you sick. Instead, over time, your sickness creates the cancer. So everything moving forward, again, I'm trying to get you in a mindset. Okay? For those of you that have seen me speak before, this is called a pop the top. What I'm trying to do is open your mind to understand something. Really simple. It's the sickness that creates the cancer, not the cancer that creates the sickness. So if you eliminate the sickness, you won't get cancer. By design, our immune systems are strong. It's very rare. Look at who died here recently, Flip Saunders. What did he die from?
Treatment.
Did he die from the cancer? No. Matter of fact, this type of cancer is extremely treatable. Their own words. But they never once said it was that uncommon for him to die from the treatment. And he died from the treatment. That's how most people die of cancer. They die from it because they lose the race. Or in his case, it really wasn't a race. He was plain died from the treatment. He wasn't bad. But he's 6 feet under because of the treatment. Is there a better way? He died of a cancer that deals with a suppressed immune system. Well, wouldn't you then just pump up the immune system? What are some ways to pump up the immune system? High levels of enzyme, alkalinity, and electrolytes. There's no money in that. Which, yeah, anyway, I digress. Have we got any crabby yet? Okay, sorry. Here's your priority in dealing with cancer. It's abundantly clear. Again, same guy. We must halt the process that creates cancer. To win the battle, we must halt the process of what creates cancer. Okay? So again, the cause is the cure is the cause. This isn't the cure, right? We're not saying, hey, if you take this, it's Mike, right? Mike, if you take this, you won't get cancer. We're not saying that at all. But this supports the process so you don't get cancer. Make sense? What's that?
It'll help you show.
It'll help us show. It will help you show. Yeah. And we can both attest to that. Okay. All right. So there's one cause. Okay. So you're going to write this down. Okay. And we got a number of people online. There's one cause of cancer. It's anything that interferes with your body's ability to kill cancer. There's one cause. Anything that interferes with your body's ability to kill cancer. So when I met with, I don't remember her name, we'll call her, is there any Susies in the room? Okay, good. So we'll call her Susie, I don't remember her name. So when I met with Susie, she said, eliminate deodorant. Why?
It interferes with your body's ability to kill cancer.
It interferes with your body's ability to kill cancer. The chemicals in there, there's 3 or 4 different chemicals they know causes cancer. They know it. There's warnings even on there. And you do research of the chemicals, and you go research it. It's not real hard. Read the name, Google it. Whew. Depending on which ones you go to, there's 3 or 4 different chemicals in every single one. I was up there, so I went and looked, and I've done research for this class. So if there's 3 or 4, eliminate anything that interferes. Use a different deodorant. Now, is this a pitch for ours? Are we the only deodorant that's all natural, doesn't have any ingredients that would cause cancer in Utasha? No, but we're one of them. Is that a fair statement? So if you had a choice of something that causes cancer, but you don't smell, or doesn't cause cancer, but you don't smell, which would you choose? Which would a rationally intelligent person choose?
Right.
Yeah. I mean, it's just, that's it. But a lot of people don't know. And that's where we come in. Okay. So there's one cause, and that is what? I want you to really know it so we can move forward. Anything that interferes with your body's ability to kill cancer. You are going to have cancer in your body. End of story. Every human being has had cancer after the age of 2, I think they say, or 3, at least once. They've had cancer cells in their body. And all a cancer cell is just an unhealthy cell. That's it. And if the body is strong, what's it do to the unhealthy cell? Kicks its butt. Goes in there, does its job, does exactly what it's supposed to do, takes it out, it does its own bet, beats that cell and says, get out of Dodge, you don't win the battle. But you have too many interferences, guess what? Cancer wins. Okay? And the other one, what's that silly game? You might know it because I want to get you, because I want to get through this real quick. The game where you got the little,
Operation.
no, you got the little sticks.
Jenga.
Jenga! Right? I want you to think of it this way. Because people go, well, if, let's say Mike has, I think you said you have like a monster in a month. Okay? So when he looks at his little Jenga called his body and his health, if he has one monster a month, is that a healthy or unhealthy decision? It's an unhealthy. And I'm not throwing Mike under the bus. Remember I just said I was drinking a bunch and I just quit. So if he has one of them and he pulls that Jenga out, is he going to get cancer? Probably. He makes all other good decisions. Do you think that one Jenga is going to hurt? That one stick? No. What happens to cancer is all of a sudden you drink coffee. That's not healthy. A lot of formaldehyde. If you are going to drink coffee, drink stuff organic. There's a lot of formaldehyde in normal coffee, in case you're wondering. And so immediately Kim made the face of, oh, I got to give up coffee. Don't give up coffee, just drink organic. Okay? And then drink it without chlorine. Because chlorine's a carcinogen. A horrible one. Okay? So does that make sense? So the coffee in itself isn't bad, it's the fluoride that they use to preserve it. Okay? So
What was in coffee?
fluoride. Or no,
Formaldehyde.
formaldehyde. The other evil F word.
Embalm your body.
I'm on recording, aren't I? I didn't say it though. I just said it's an evil F word. Fluoride.
Our friend
Formaldehyde.
at the coffee shop just told me that today that it's covered with formaldehyde. Keeps it from
It's a preservative. It keeps the rats off it.
Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah. Rats won't eat it. Now here's the thing. I want you to think about this for a moment. Squirrel! Rats! Won't eat it. Yeah, we should have that.
Rats won't eat coffee
No, not with formaldehyde on it. They'll eat coffee like gangbusters
if it doesn't have.
formaldehyde on it. But if you put formaldehyde on it, they also won't drink chlorinated water. Neither will your dog or cat if you give them a choice. Okay. So, let's talk about the 5 pillars. Okay, we understand that anything that interflows. So let's get into what it is so we can live healthy. Okay? Number 1, you got to have the right mindset. I started with today to get you in the right mindset. A little emotional for a couple people, and you're talking about some things that are highly personal, or if you've known somebody and you realize how attainable health is, it'll make you angry. Or if you lose somebody to the battle, or somebody you go to them and go, there's 5 simple steps to change your life to beat this. Not get it again, if you get it, but you'll run into brick walls. Now I'm going to listen to, and again, I'm not saying doctors are evil, but if I'm going to go to a doctor for anything, I will cross-reference them. That's just me. I told a story here recently. I described what was a bleeding ulcer to my doctor. I now, by the way, have a new doctor. But I described what would be a bleeding ulcer, because it's real easy. All you gotta do is look up Google bleeding ulcer, right? You Google it and it says all the symptoms, really easy. So I did that while I was waiting in my, the waiting room. And I go in and I said, Doc, and I was really going in for my, again, being in my mid-40s, my man check, right? You gotta go do that. And I said, but here's what I got going on. And he goes, oh, it sounds like you have a bleeding ulcer. I go, oh, you think so? Yeah. Well, what should I do? And he goes, I'll give you, some prescriptions for that. What would you give me? He says, well, there's this, and there's this, and there's this. And I go, you do realize that bismuth and minerals would eliminate a bleeding ulcer, right? Well, I've heard something like that. I mean, you have to hear something like that because you have to sign a letter that says you know that to keep your license. His first priority was to give me what? Drugs. It wasn't to get me healthy. But federal laws have changed and forces them to say that. That's why I have a new doctor, because I won't go back to it. It was my test. He lost. Okay? So the first thing you do is have the right mindset. Go in and take control of your life. I talked about it. Know that cancer is caused. You can uncause it. Okay? Got to have the right mindset, though. They say once a patient's given up, they will die in 72 hours or less. Okay? I remember, and some of you know, I'm coming up on an anniversary, and it's a tough one. It's when I lost my grandma. My grandmother was my hero. She was my rock. My grandma was the strongest human being I've ever met. That chick was afraid of nothing. She was badass. Excuse my language. She just was. And she passed away on Friday, so it's a real tight time for me, so I'll talk a little emotional. But she was the toughest human being I ever met. I mean, she just was tough, right? And I remember when she goes, and it was in April because it was my birthday, and I got to get my $5. Right? You know, grandmas, they give their grandkids, you know, and I'd always get my card, and I would drive all the way there, which if you know how far I live with my grandma, it's about an hour, so I way lost, but it was so cool because I get the little card. Grandma would always kiss me in the cheek, and she'd always tell me I'm her favorite, and that was worth all the trip right there. And then I'd say, okay, and then she'd give me the list, and I'd go to work, because I always helped my grandparents out. My grandpa had died. And she goes, well, I need to talk to you about something. I said, okay, and she goes, I need some help with my will and some stuff, and I said, sure. And so we're sitting down, and we're chatting, and I said, well, Grandma, why are you so urgent? I mean, you know, you don't really have anything going on, you know, nothing. She goes, well, I'm not going to see Christmas. What? Is there something I don't know about? You know, I'm like, and you right away, you know how you know, like if Mike, it's your dad, right? If Mike came to you and said, I'm not going to see Christmas, you'd be like, dude, what's going on? You look, well, I mean, you look sort of good. Right? You'd be like, oh, there's something. And she goes, no, I just know. You know, and she was a very spiritual person. She goes, you know, God just told me. So I'm preparing you. And I go, well, I don't like this preparation. And I remember arguing with Grandma, which is, I didn't do, but maybe twice in my whole life. She just, remember I said she was tough? Yeah. Arguing with Grandpa. I was afraid Grandpa would come out of the grave and help me down. And I was, you know, like, you just didn't do that. But I remember arguing a little bit with her, and she just knew. And I think some of that, and again, people instinctually sometimes have that, but also when they give up. And again, through this, in interviewing different doctors and stuff, they'll tell you. They said, we know, not from the medications or their state of health, we know in their mind whether or not they're going to beat it. He said, we know. It's unfortunate. And so, and there were a number of people who said the same thing with Flip. That he just, you know, kept kind of resolved that it was his time. And again, knowing some of the people that knew him, I didn't know him, but knowing some people who knew him, remember Network, that's what they had said. He just had kind of had a mindset. Now, did he die? Did he know he was going to die from the drugs? No, but he had a mindset of that. So the first thing you have to do is you got to have the mindset, I'm a cancer killer. Write that down. I'm a cancer killer. Everything I'm going to teach you for the rest of this time till 9, and we'll finish on time, is that you are a cancer killer. You have to buy into it. If I create cancer, I can kill cancer. I tell my kids that all the time. I brought you into the world, I'll take you out. And I have great kids, and it's always a joke. They're like, oh, Dad, I'm like, come here, I'll take you here. You know, we kid around. But my grandma used to say that, and that's, I know, you repeat history, and so my grandma used to say it, but I was a little more naughty than my kids, so I had it coming. And so, you have to buy in. I'm a cancer killer, first and foremost. Number 2, okay, excuse me. For those of you who are analytical and you wrote number 2, please forgive me, okay. We're still on 1. If you are and have cancer, or you know somebody who has cancer, I'm going to talk for this a little bit. So we're not going to number 2. Okay? We're going to go, if you have cancer, or if you know somebody who has cancer, first thing you want to do is sit down with them and go, hey, look, you created this. I learned in a class 97% of cancer is done by choice. Okay? Not saying you to be mean, but if you created it, you can kick it. You have to say that to them. If you created it, you can kick it. Okay? So when you're sitting down with somebody in part 2 or 1B, you have to take the understanding that this is an opportunity to learn about yourself. There are certain things in life where you get to find out people's true character, right? And there are certain things in life that expose character. Let me give you an example. I was a land developer. I had a lifestyle and was successful in multi-level marketing. That's how I had some of the money to do land developing and some other things. And me and my partner built up a portfolio of about $150 million worth of land. Okay? We leveraged upon leverage. You know, when you buy a house, you might put X number down and then the rest is loaned, right? Well, we had leveraged what we had to about that much. And then the housing market fell. So my wife and I grew up broke. It was my mom and I had to live with my grandparents. That's why I talk a lot about them. And they were a lot of my rock and my inspiration. My mom was my best friend and still is. But all of a sudden, we finally had built to where we had some things in life. We had the cool boat. When I bought, we're both softball players. When I'd go buy softball bats, if I found one I liked, I'd buy 5. Right? Because in softball, in the level that, especially at that particular time in my life, I played at a very high level. When you found a bat you liked, it was rare. But when you found it, you wanted never for it to go away. Right? And so I had a lot of things in my life financially that we had never. But all of a sudden one day the banker on a Saturday in the afternoon came to my house without an invite. Is that a good day or a bad day? That's a bad day. You know where I never ever had to look for my wife? You know where she was? Right there. Exposes character. When you have this and you all get taken, and what's the number one reason people fight and get divorces? Money, right? We lost it all. As a matter of fact, we went from rich to $1 million in debt in 45 days. She never once, I never had to find her. She never once blamed me. She just understood. It's the housing market. It was nothing I did. It's just, you know, hey, we came into the world with nothing. We're out of the world with nothing. Let's just enjoy the ride. Exposes character. So the thing that you want to do with people that have cancer, if you have it, expose the character. You know what? I'm a cancer killer. And I'm going to make sure I learn so that I don't ever get this again. Then I'm going to teach others. And again, these are things that, and then 3 is, you want to take the pillars and immerse yourself. Okay? This is still under 1. You can call it ABC, okay, or whatever you want to call it, but this is immerse yourself in the pillars. So number 1 is still a pillar, which is what? Mindset. If you know somebody with cancer, you want a 1 or A. Boy, I'm doing that backwards, aren't I, Matt? Okay, see cancer, okay, know that you're a killer. B is, C is an opportunity, and C is immerse yourself in the pillars. Let's go to the pillars, because otherwise I'm going to keep screwing you up on the numbers, aren't I? Sorry. Number 2. Sorry, Mom. Will you forgive me? Am I grounded? Keep going. Good. Okay. Number 2. Here's the number pillar. So we got 1 first is the right mindset. 2 is maximize nerve supply. Okay? Maximize nerve supply. Your health is really oriented on a couple of things. One of which is your nerve endings. You've ever hurt your back? Good day, bad day. Okay? And as long as that hurts, bad, right? You're nodding your head, you must have dealt with it for a while. Your nerve supply will dictate where your immune system sends its energy. So I'm not a chiropractor. I am not, well, I am promoting chiropractic, but I don't make any money when other chiropractors do this. Make sense? But if you ask if I believe in chiropractic, science will tell you to believe in chiropractic, whether a doctor does or not. Science will tell you. There have been many, many studies. The bubonic plague, people survived, the ones who were chiropractically adjusted. The plague of the early 90s, or the early 1900s. When that plague went around with the flu. Those who were adjusted survived, those who didn't survive. The reason's really simple. Anatomical alignment, when it's right, then the body then can take that energy, take that immune system, and go fight the disease. In this case, the flu. When the central nervous system isn't right, where does it take the energy? Keeps it. And your immune system doesn't get helped. Therefore, the flu doesn't get defeated, and then the flu defeats you. So, if you were going to beat cancer, so let's say, and again, who are my two people? You had cancer, and she had cancer. So if you had cancer, first thing I said, get your mind right. I'd sit down and I'd go, look, you're a cancer killer. You're a killer. And if you know me, I like making cool shirts and different stuff. We'd go out, and if I were personally coaching one of you who had this, I'd say, we're going to create a shirt. I'd create something like, I'm a killer, ask me why. So you can tell everybody that you're a killer. Why? Mindset. Okay? Phew, I'm going to run out of time, I know it. Okay, I used to do I've been a speaker, public speaker for a lot of years. This is my 21st year, I guess, being a public speaker. We used to do this thing where we'd blindfold somebody and we'd hold the weight. I'd say, you're strong and you can hold it. You're strong and you can hold it. And then I'd make them say it. They go, I'm strong, I can hold it. And then you'd let go of the weight and they go, Right? They're blindfolded. They don't know better. Then I go, all right. Then we take another one, exact same weight, but it was cold. Felt different temperature, so it was cold. We pull it out, it'd be cold. I'd say, hey, look, this is cold, it's a lot heavier. I don't know if you're going to hold it, but just try. Okay? So hang with me, all right? So Kim, I don't know if you're going to hold it, but just try, okay? It's heavier, but, that's okay. Just do your best, all right? And sometimes when it's so hard that literally, when you're a new speaker, you don't know what you don't know. And I can remember the first time it happened. Whoom! It nailed her thigh. Her bruise was huge.
Owie.
And for 2 days, sympathy all over it. She'd be like, see what you did? After that, I would catch it. That's all right. I'm going to let go. And I'd let go, and I'd go here, and they would just drop and fall into my hand. Unbelievable. What was the difference? Was it the weight? It was the mindset. So what you do is what you reinforce, you become.
It's like when you're walking up the stairs and you think there's another stair.
Oh yeah, you fall. So what happened, and again, so I'd create shirts. So if you're working with people, create shirts. I mean, you go to these T-shirt express places or wherever, you can get them. They're more expensive to do that way, but create something. Why? You want everybody to come up to you and go, you know what, I'm a cancer killer. Ask me how. I have the 5 pillars in my life. It ain't going to win. It's not going to win. And that mindset is the difference of holding that 20-pound weight or having it drop so hard it bruises their thigh. It's amazing. So, again, what's that got to do with maximize nerve cells? Nothing, but I went on a tangent, sorry. Well, there are 2 super systems in the body. Okay, think of it this way. There's 2 super systems. We're still at number 2. One is your central nervous system, and the other is the immune, which we'll talk about next. So, again, why is chiropractic so important? Central nervous system. If you're aligned, you're healthy. If it's not aligned, you're not healthy. Plain and simple. Okay? Now, if you want to know if you have a chiropractor that deals with entire alignment, know this. If they're concerned with alignment, there's 2 different philosophies in chiropractic. Okay, I'm not a chiropractor, we have one here, and she'll correct me if I'm wrong. I'll give you the green light. My understanding is there's one way they go point of injury. So if Heath hurts, sorry about that, got a little spit on you. So if Heath hurts here, then that chiropractor is going to go, okay, we're going to adjust that. What's it called? Subluxation? Close. Good. Okay, we're going to hit that subluxation. We're going to move it, and then he's going to go, oh, I feel better. That's called point of injury or point source of injury, source of pain chiropractic. Then there's what's called full or anatomical chiropractic, which is what you want. Okay? Which means from the top, your cranial seat, all the way down to your coccyx, down to your butt. Aligned. Okay? When all of it's in line, according to science, healthy. Not in alignment, not healthy. Is a good chiropractor point of injury? Sure. If I got a sore spot, I want the sore spot to go away. If I want to be healthy, I want it all straight. You see the difference? Okay, good. That, good. All right. Got a chiropractor, she keeps me in line. Okay.
I try.
Number 3. Okay? Pillar number 3. Maximized quality nutrition. Maximize quality nutrition. I got enough time if I go quick. All right. So for those of you who are new or haven't seen me speak before, let me ask you this. If I came to you and I said, I've got a 27 grain, all organic bread. Totally organic. There's no chemicals in it. Bread with turkey and no fat mayo. Healthy or unhealthy? Healthy. Unhealthy.
Ice cream.
You wouldn't eat it. Curious, but I'll ask later. Healthy or unhealthy?
I don't like the non-fat mayo.
Okay, eliminate the mayo. All natural butter.
Veganese.
Avocado.
I don't know much
Avocado.
about... Oh, that sounds better.
Oh,
I
yeah.
don't know much about turkey.
Would you have chicken?
Well, I'm just saying, is it...
Any meat you want
Is
to
it-
pick.
What is it all? Non out of the field.
Subway?
Yeah.
Organic meat. Okay.
Organic.
All right. I'll save the pain.
Okay.
All right. The minute you added bread, it was unhealthy. Any type. Bread is designed to make you fat. It's a horrible source of fiber. The best thing you get out of it is pesticides.
Oh, dear.
So,
Turkey's not
okay.
bad, no, is it?
So, but we've been taught by many naturopaths, and not naturopaths, but many nutritional gurus. They'll say, if we were to go to them and say, hey, I got a 14 grain bread, because that's actually around. I don't think they actually make a 27. I was making a hyperbole to make a point. Hyperbole. And you go to them and you go, hey, look, is this healthy? Oh, yeah. I have a friend of mine who's dealing with cancer, and I said, well, what can't they eat? She did the same thing with them, and well, they just said, but they were skeptical of our nutrition, but yet didn't tell them not to eat sugar or breads or milks, anything that interferes with cancer, ability to kill cancer. Didn't address any of those, but they were skeptical of ours, which their own medical profession, which I'll talk about, would promote ours. Sorry. I'm gonna have a shot for success. Okay, so what is quality nutrition? The closest I can give you, the best description I can give you is this. You want to go in, you can look at many websites. Jenna has that up, you can get an email, right? Is that,
Yeah, I have it here.
you have it here, okay. You want to eat alkaline, okay? Glycemic index, there's lots of them. The no grain diet, there's lots of different things. But I would tell you, you can look up alkalinediet.com, you can look up a number of these. When you eat alkaline, first of all, cancer cannot grow in an alkaline environment. If I had the head of Mayo Clinic sitting right here, he can't argue with anything I have to say anyway. I use his books against him. But they know that cancer can't grow in an alkaline environment. So we want to pursue eating alkaline. There's things in there that are really good. You don't have to give up things you like. Let me give you an example. I love watermelon. I do. How many realize watermelon is on the highest index of alkalinity? You go, oh, it's sugar and water. No, it's not. Your glycemic index is wonderful on it. Just relax. Eat alkaline. Okay? So, and try to make it as, I'll just say it. I'm a spiritual person, so if you're not, I don't mean to offend anybody. I'm just going to say it in the words that work for me and that it understands. You can put it in your own language, whatever you want. But I would say it in this, the way God intended it. Not processed, not bleached, not as close to how God intended it. They gave it a name, you should be able to read it. Right? If you can't read it, it's probably far too complex, far too processed. That's not alkaline. Is that a fair way of saying, even if you're not spiritual, again, I don't mean to offend anybody, it's just the best way I can word it. So, that make, fair enough? Okay. We're still on number 3. We'll be in 3 here for a short little section. Okay, so an alkaline diet is high in vegetables, high in fiber. You'll notice that. Try not to, some little hints. Are fruits a good thing to eat? Yes. Just say yes,
Yeah.
which will add the caveat here in a second. Yes. Okay, is fruit juice good to drink?
No.
No. And the reason's really simple. If you were to take that orange and extract that juice and drink it within an hour, it's good for you. Because it has living enzymes. Beyond an hour, its enzymes are dead, then what is it purely?
Sugar.
Acidic and sugar. Acid, does cancer grow in an acid environment? Yes. What's it eat? Sugar. Guess what my friend's oncology said she should drink? Yes. I digress. Ignorance is bliss. Unless you're the one with cancer. Okay. Alkaline, again, I'm not going to go into that diet. Understand, it's highly recognized. Every medical thing that talks about prevention of cancer will talk about eating alkaline diet. So there's lots of different websites, lots of different books. You can go through them. They're extremely easy to find. Jenna has a printout we can get you. We want to make it as simple as possible. Okay.
Do you know if that's true of all fruit juices?
Yes.
Especially if it says pasteurized.
Yeah, pasteurized, bad juju.
No, I was just thinking like for squeezed lemon, if that loses.
It loses about an hour. Yep. Yeah.
And if it's concentrated, it's actually been pasteurized. Don't
Yeah.
be confused. Concentrated means they had to break it down somehow.
Yeah,
they're talking
I
fresh
put them
squeezed.
into ice cubes and put
Yep.
them in my water later.
Yep. But again, let's back up here a little bit. First of all, that freshness is better for you than anything you buy in a store. Okay, so let's get that out of the way. Does it have a lot of enzyme factor? No. One way you can extend the life of the enzymes is just add our neutralizer to it. Electrolytes extend the life of enzymes. So then you can freeze it and do some of those things, and it's very inexpensive. But, and you could do that. Another form of electrolytes, Pedialyte is not bad for electrolytes. You know, you give that to babies and that when they're colicky. And guess what? It's because it has calcium in it. And it's liquid and it's electrolyte treated. So, but there's some things, it's good for you, it's not great for you. Does that make sense? When you have it fresh, it's great for you. But the longer it stays away from fresh, the more unhealthy it is. You're not going to get a lot of sugar from that little bit of lemon juice that you'd have to add in water. When you have straight orange juice, it's just pure sugar. You see the difference? Lemon juice, you're just not going to get much sugar. The combination of sugar and acid is like going, cancer.
Can you do that again?
No, because
Sorry, we got it on film.
Just say it. Cut it out and like play it.
So,
I can even feel it blushing a little bit. That's exactly right. Yeah.
just to clarify, if you have lemon juice, fresh squeezed lemon juice past an hour or two, then it's already acidic?
Yeah, it's going to be acidic, because enzymes is the most critical thing that you get out of juices. Enzymes are absolutely, we have about 3 pounds of enzymes. There's about 2,000 different types of enzymes in your body. That's why when you look at probiotic, that's 3 or 4 different type. It's like throwing, a glass of water in a starving nation. It's just not a lot. But when you get a plethora of different types of enzymes, so what I'm trying to say is this: try and get it as close to when you squeeze it out, but you're not going to get much sugar from that lemon juice as you would in a glass of orange juice. So that lemon, what you would take to have good lemon tasting water, which if we all went out to eat tonight, some of us will go afterward, we'll go have lemon water. I mean, it's almost the entire table will have lemon water. Somebody might have tea or something, but none of us drink when we go out as a group. We just don't. We don't think that's appropriate. But no matter where we would go, it's just not the environment after a meeting like this. Yeah.
Real quick, what about fruit that's frozen and you buy frozen whole strawberries? Is that fine?
For
Like shakes?
sure.
No?
Again,
Okay.
I'm gonna be, I don't wanna offend anybody, so but yet I have to be, so I'm gonna say it this way. As close as God intended, so God didn't freeze it, right?
We live in Minnesota.
What's that, we live in Minnesota, right? But that whole strawberry is much better than a canned strawberry, or much better than the alternative. So if you were to say ideal, it'd be going out, you picked it, it's fresh, that's ideal. Enzymes high, it's not GMO'd. Well, hopefully I would doubt anybody in this room would probably grow GMO'd strawberries. Most people don't come to these kind of meetings, growing GMO stuff. So it's living enzyme. The next way would be frozen, but it's less ideal. Okay? Because you've been off the stem longer. The minute you're off the stem, it has no more life to be given. It's dying. The minute it's pulled from that stem, when you pull an apple off the stem, it's no longer, it's starting to die. That's literally process. That's why they have to add chemicals and different things so that it doesn't rot before we get our apples. 18 months is the average apple we get at Rainbow Cup. Give you an indication.
Wow.
Yeah. So it's less ideal, but still better. So if you were to say, how many in the room, watch this, okay? Because most of these guys have seen me teach before, and we have other teachers in the room, so I'm not the only teacher. But how many of us have eaten frozen strawberries and raspberries in the last 2 days? Yeah, so we do it. Does it make sense? But if you have ideal, would be to pick that raspberry and eat it. No freezing, no nothing, fresh. The second way would be organic and frozen, would be second. Then there'd be a lot of other things lower. So it's not ideal, but it's way better than not having raspberries, not having that. Okay, that make sense? Okay.
So when I'm going to Walmart and they've got what I think are fresh raspberries sitting out there, what are they really?
Well, let's put it this way, and I'll tell a quick story to kind of give you an idea. I worked this summer with Mike doing trees, and we would stop at a particular gas station that had, I won't mention their name, but it's a place you stop quick, and just a quick trip in, and they had this particular store had apples that I won't say the name of, and so and they were teasing me about it. If you ever heard some of the conversation, you were here a little bit late, but they were teasing me. My truck is a walking petri dish, or driving on 4 wheels. I have stuff in there that kind of gets lost. Hoffa may show up here eventually. But I'm just, I live in my truck. I have twins that are 11. I play some sports. I don't consider probably anymore an athlete. I'm just old. But, I help run this group of people, amazing people in this room. I am to be the leader of it, and there's responsibilities, and I do a lot of things there. I have an amazing wife. I got, I do a lot of things. Truck is real low on my priority, especially keep it clean. So, I remember buying this particular type of apple. I ate 1 or 2 of the 3. It was in the heat of summer, in my truck, for 2 months. Right? Wasn't it 2 months? I mean, I told the story. Right? That's right. I don't want to exaggerate. Was it 2 months? I found it. It was fresh. 2 holes on the left and right side of each, perfectly aligned. But the apple was fresh. Made me wonder what those 2 holes were. When I look at the series, because apples will tell you it is a GMO apple. What's the number? 4. I had to ask her. I had to ask her back then too. So I found out it was a GMO apple, which GMOs are not what ideal. Remember, it was ideal. So, does that give you an indication of what we're buying in a store? It's not that, stop that a quick trip you make into a gas station. They're not the only ones.
What's the holes from?
So, research would say that they inject it, but I didn't chemically check the apple, so I can't say. I will say it tasted fresh. I still hate it, but it was less than ideal. So, is that maximizing your nutrition? No. So if I were dealing, again, I'm not picking on Tasha, you just happen to be in the front and the middle, so I just happen to be there. And you're new, so I always pick up a new person. But if I were coaching her and I'd say, okay, let's say you had cancer, I'd say, look, we're going to maximize nutrition. We're not going to eat GMO apples. We're not going to eat apples we buy at a Cub or a Rainbow, not to disrespect them. We're going to go and get organic. We're going to get healthy. Now, if that were sitting in my truck for 2 months, there probably wouldn't be anything but the seeds left. It would have rotted so much. It would have smelled long before it, which I don't know if I still would have found it. But anyway, try to have a little fun. Okay, so maximize nutrition, all right? Okay, so we're going to go into a real quick fact. We'll break out of facts here a little bit. The report done by AICR, all in capitals, AICR, it's the World Cancer Research Fund, took 5 years to complete. 7,000 studies they put together. It's the largest ever in the history of mankind. A clinical study using 7,000 clinical studies, okay? Took 5 years to put all the information together. It's the most comprehensive published in science linking cancer and its direct link to our lifestyle. Whether we choose it. That's where the 97% came from when I used that. So if you ever wonder where it came from, that's where it came from. The AICR. 1/3 of all cancers, according to this, would be wiped out simply by exercise alone. 1/3 would be gone if all we did was exercise. And exercise by their criteria is 0.5 hours to 3 hours a week. 1/3 of all cancer would go away if all we did was that. Make all the same choices. So you think exercise is one of the pillars? Yeah. Guess what my friend who was supposed to be here tonight wasn't told to go do? It's appalling. Okay, 60% if you apply eating right and exercise. Now we're up to 60%. Okay? Here's, so we talked about eating. Let's talk about supplements real quick. Okay? Because again, we've already, and I talked about early in the day where I said you can't get enough from eating right. Can't get enough nutrition. There's never been, again, that's well documented, I think. So let's talk about particularly, there were 35 clinical studies done by, if you're looking for the actual website, it's www. Okay, for our analyticals, www.nlm, Nancy loves Mary, NLM, NIH, and Nancy is hot, NIH, how am I doing? .gov, I don't have one, .gov, okay, and that's called, that website is called the National Library of Medicine. This is where our doctors get their info from, National Library of Medicine, okay, I'm using their facts, all this came from these different things anyway. Here's what they said about curcumin and GPC, which they were specifically talking about glutathione, which I'll talk about vitamin C in a minute. So our product would be GPC, glutathione, and vitamin C. The P is what holds them together. It's basically like an eggshell, holds it together, which, again, we don't need to get much into that. Okay? Here's what they said. Curcumin and GPC has the ability to reduce chemotherapy-induced harm. So if you have chemo, you're going to get harmed a lot less. Okay? 50 other studies indicate curcumin and GPC has what's called chemosensitizing properties, which means it allows chemo and radiation to work better. That's what chemosensitizing means. So it allows the treatments to work better. Now, glutathione and CoQ10 are in every cellular energy in every cell of your body. Without it, without glutathione and CoQ10, cellular activity dies. So guess what you lack when cancer starts winning? Glutathione and CoQ10. Okay? Right out of there, they're saying it. So one of the treatments is to give you more of it. They all agree that if taken prior, you probably wouldn't get cancer. Their studies, not mine. Right out of what medicine journal?
National Library.
National Library of Medicine. That's why I said, the head of surgery was sitting right here, or head of oncology was sitting right here. They can't argue, it's out of their books. Okay? No other drug or natural ingredient has shown these abilities of glutathione, CoQ10, and vitamin C. Vitamin C enables the body to fight cancer naturally. What it does is, when you have an optimum level of vitamin C, you have something in there called hydrogen peroxide. Okay? So if you have a high level of vitamin C, it literally creates hydrogen peroxide, which you want. Okay? That peroxide literally vaporizes cancer. Oxygen oxygenates them. Cancer doesn't like that. It vaporizes them. Okay? There are many studies, and I didn't have enough time to get into it, where I know you gave me that book, but I didn't have enough time to put it all together with background research. I was able to background research everything. So I took a lot of this out of a book, but I was able to document, and even some in that book that they're talking about and others, when I look at the documents, a little iffy. So they're not in my things. Make sense? Everything I'm saying, that there is not one thing that if they were the head of oncology from Harvard could win on. I've done the research right out of their books. In that book, where is it? There's a book called Cancer, what's it? Say it?
Cancer killer.
Cancer Killer, the Causes the Cure. Okay? You can look that up, you can get it. But even in there, there's some things that you could argue about. So, vitamin C, and it turns into hydrogen peroxide, I talked about it. We have a product called GPC. High levels of vitamin C, gets into your lower intestine, that's where you want it. The problem with vitamin C as a whole, vitamin C goes into the system, it's an oxidizing agent. So vitamin C hits your acid of your stomach, what's it do? It oxidizes. Never gets to your blood system. Is that a good way or a bad way? That's bad. There's something called liposomes in an orange. Those little pods, and you break apart the peel and you peel out, there's little pockets. When you chew them, they don't all break. When it gets to your lower intestine, those little pods get pulled apart, and vitamin C goes into your bloodstream directly. Extremely effective. That's why you want to eat oranges. Don't chew them vigorously. Basically, yeah. If you want to make them small enough, chew it enough to where you can swallow, but not enough where it's pulverized. You want to let that sort of go in the system, then oranges are effective form of vitamin C. We use a liposome, the same type of, the way God intended. It's sunflower seed oil, that's the P and GPC, but all of these products use that same technology where we take it so it gets to your lower intestine. That's where you want curcumin. You don't want it oxidized. Curcumin by nature oxidizes extremely effectively. It has a 1:17 ratio, which means it oxidizes 17 bad things. Okay? But if it goes to your stomach, it doesn't get a chance to get to the bad things in your body. Make sense? Okay. So, CoQ10 cures naturally. It's an enzyme. Okay? As I talked about earlier, CoQ10 and glutathione are the catalysts for all cellular activity in your body. What a catalyst means, it literally is the energy or the spark. If you lack glutathione, you are suffering depression. If you lack CoQ10, you will suffer from depression. Because you don't have the spark or the energy. Okay? We tease Heath a lot because we know him and we love him and he's a good friend of ours. But prior to GPC, he was a Grumposaurus a lot. And people who know him and love him on a daily basis, his wife and kids, noticed, and people, obviously family members of his, noticed when he got on glutathione or GPC that his mood was better. He noticed it. And the reason's really simple. When your body lacks glutathione, it doesn't have the spark, it does not have the ability to be energized. All cellular spark rely on CoQ10 and glutathione in your cells, entire body, every cell. Okay? So I know a lot of us have heard it's good for your heart, CoQ10. They actually have a commercial, CoQ10 and heart health. Okay? Great advertising. It is one of the side effects to CoQ10. Everything has side effects. Our stuff does too. High levels of glutathione, high energy, optimal health. Your hair color comes back. You're not so moody. You're a cancer killer. Those are side effects of our stuff. Sorry, got on a tangent. CoQ10 is also an extremely powerful antioxidant. The product that we have that has CoQ10 is our protein. Okay? We don't pitch it that way. We don't sell it that way. Matter of fact, a lot of people that even that are active in the company don't even know that how much CoQ10 we have in it. We have a lot. It's very expensive. We sell it as a protein because it's easy to market. It's easy to market in a protein shake. A lot of people, oh, I'll take a shake. That's healthy. What do you have for a protein? We get asked that all the time. You in fitness, all those kind of things. It's a great protein, but it has a lot of other stuff that are very, very good for you. Okay, things that regulate your sugars and those kind of things. Okay, resveratrol. 8 clinical studies done by the NLM, same group. Resveratrol's ability to reduce chemoradiation harm. Chemosensitization, that's so, yep. 19 different studies documented that it also was a anti-cancer. So 8 said that harmful effects of chemo, radiation was reduced and made them work better. And there were 19 studies that said it is an anti-cancer. So resveratrol is really important. What product has resveratrol? And what's that?
What
Or
did you,
curcumin.
what did you say is curcumin?
It's literally curcumin.
No, what is it? You were, I don't even know your word you said. You
Uh,
said it's in our.
resveratrol, I can spell it for you. RESVERATROL. You want to describe it real quick?
What's in red wine?
Well, that's resveratrol. It's that's where they talked about. Remember, there was this grapeseed extract. Was this big hoop-de-doo, right? They made a big deal out of grapeseed extract. It was really resveratrol that they were talking about. But curcumin. You want to describe it real quick? Give us a 30-second or a minute description of curcumin.
Oh, it's just a huge antioxidant. There's tons of health benefits, younger, more energy,
Where's it come from?
detoxing. It comes from turmeric, which is a vegetable spice. We use it a lot in Indian food. Curry is made in turmeric.
Mm-hmm. The problem with most turmerics and most types of it, first of all, it tastes like caca. Not a great tasting. Curry's good, but beyond that, some of the other way you take turmeric is really bitter and really not so good. And I've tried different ones. Even other company stuff. Recently, somebody gave me some stuff, and they wanted to dare to compare. It didn't go well for them, but I digress. But if I can give you the best way to describe it, if you were to take all the maladies that this entire room could think of, all of them, cancer, arthritis, fibromyalgia, dementia, and you start every malady we could come up with, right? Every one. And then we put curcumin over here. There have been studies that said it defeats that. Best way to describe curcumin. It's extremely wonderful to the body. I mean, when you, like if you gurgle it tonight, Google it.
Gurgle it? Gargle it?
I need my greens.
You better take some more curcumin.
I better. No, I took a bunch today. But if you were to Google it, you'd be amazed when you look at what curcumin takes care of. Amazed. The trick about that is you don't want to just take it. Okay? Best way to describe it is this. If you were to take vitamins 1 a day, okay? Not that, that's a name brand or anything, but if you were to take vitamins 1 a day, and you took that marble and you consumed it, and let's just say that marble said something like 1 a day. what would it say on the way out? One a day. Okay? Now, it might have all the ingredients that you'd want to have. Right? But if it goes in, I'm not saying that there's a brand that has this. But let's say there was a brand that said one a day and you consumed it, even if it said silver on it. And it came out and it said one a day silver and you can still read it. You're not getting anything from it. Can we all agree? Yeah. Because I've never eaten an apple and it came out like an apple. Right? Trying to not be too over the line. Because Randy does know this site. And if he's watching, he'll yell at me. Whatever. So, it isn't that it gets into your body. Does that make sense? We can all swallow that vitamin that says one a day if there was ever such a thing. We can swallow it. Or Centrum, or Mega Man, or anything that have magnesium stearate. Any of those. But the minute it has magnesium stearate, you cannot get into your body. It doesn't get into your cells. Calcium is good for you. How many heard that one? How many agree? We all agree calcium is good for you. How about a pill form of calcium? Okay? And if you're wondering whether it is or isn't, let's picture this. I would like you to fit this room.
Into the liquid right
No, she had it. Where's that beach ball? Where's that? Give it to me. Gotta hurry. 'Cause it's almost done timing.
Hurry, he said. Takes it, you know.
Couldn't be better. I want you to fit this room into this ball. Can you do it?
No.
Pill form of calcium. Human cell. What are most blockages at the University of Minnesota? Pill form of calcium. Can't be broken apart of the human cell, blocks the arteries. Why do we use a suspended liquid? Whether it's silver or neutralizer? Could you fit these three things in this ball? We all agree, even though it'll be a little messy, I'll just pull it like this, that if they were fully apart and weren't full of yummy smoothie, but could we fit this in there? Intercellular nutrition. Intercellular nutrition. Everybody goes, what's the difference from your company to other companies? Intercellular, which means one, it's small enough. Two, it's the way God intended it. Whether it's not synthetic, natural. And it's alkaline. All of our stuff. Make sense? Okay. All right. Talked about curcumin, vitamin C, CoQ10, resveratrol. Professor Robert Souhami. Would you like a little chili with that? Souhami. S-O-U-H-A-M-I. Director of Clinical Research and Cancer Research for the UK, said that 15% to 20% of all cancers are caused from viruses, where the virus is a irritant. Okay? Anything that doesn't kill cancer, right? We got there? And that irritant, the immune system is so suppressed, the irritant takes the cells and mutates them.
That's why you said sickness creates.
Sickness creates cancer, not cancer is, right? So, what's one thing that viruses cannot build an immune system to? To what? Alkaline. And silver. Silver. Colloidal silver, but not colloidal silver. Okay? There's two types of silver in the market. There's the cheap stuff called colloidal. You can hook a silver bar, run electricity through it with distilled water, and you've got colloidal silver. Now, again, let me give you a better description. It's not like calcium, which would be this room to fit in here, but I want you to fit this into this. Colloidal cell. How's that work? Okay? So, colloidal silver is this. Intercellular silver is this. Does this fit? Silver kills the virus. Virus is an irritant. 15 to 20% of all cancer is caused by what? By viruses. So, hence why we would recommend you should take silver as a precaution. Or if you had cancer, would you want to get the flu? No. Can viruses build an immunity to suffocation? No. Right? Can they build an immunity to other drugs? How many heard that viruses are mutating and build an immune system to the ways that we're treating them? Guess what virus can't build an immunity to? Suffocation. And silver suffocates a cell. Does not suffocate any healthy cells. There's never, ever been any silver, that even colloidal silver, that's ever harmed a living good cell. Matter of fact, silver is in your blood system as a naturally occurring.
So which of your products has silver in it?
I know, we're highly marketable. It's called silver.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. Guess what our soap's called?
So,
Magic cum sum laude washable stuff. Or soap.
For sure.
It's called soap. Guess what our laundry soap is called? Laundry soap. We are highly creative in Nature Rich. Where's this go? Right there?
Sure.
Okay. You got it all pretty and you know where stuff goes. So yeah, we keep things really simple.
I've never taken silver in my life.
Yeah, you should.
I don't even know what
Yeah. Silver
Never-
is
Never heard of it.
very, very, very good for you. My wife has lots of jewelry if you'd like some of that silver.
That's the only kind of silver I have.
Silver is found in a lot of things that we eat. Could be even in meats, a lot of vegetables, because it's in our soil. Problem is when you strip it out year after year after year. So think of it this way: if you were to take a chemical compound of salt that you get in Utah, you know they get the big salt mines, and you compare that to our blood system, they're very similar molecular. And there's silver in there, and there's silver in the blood. So it's just a naturally occurring in a number of things. Problem is we've beaten our fields up and the way we process food, so we're not getting it naturally. They've known for years, and again, you know, you could do your research, but how they knew silver was so powerful is people that came over in the ships back when they put sails up and they sailed to the U.S., they were doing that. It was always the captains that lived, well, they drank out of silver vats. But the deckhands didn't, and they got sick. And so, most of us, if you really want to know, real quick, I'll get on a squirrel trail. If you don't mind, I go over by about 6 minutes. But I'll go on a real quick squirrel trail. Most of us are dying from scurvy. We're not dying from heart disease. We're dying from a lack of vitamin C. Lack of vitamin C is a direct cause of heart disease. It's not what they're telling you. It's not blood pressure. It's not what they're telling you. And again, I have a whole section of study on it. But what a lack of vitamin C is, think of when the heartbeat goes through, your artery does this, right? Is that pump, that splash of blood goes through. With a lack of vitamin C, the arteries harden and they crack. And so in that bleeding, then they send cholesterol to fill the crack. And then it'll continue to pump, and then that cholesterol, sticky, will get there, well then it sends more and creates blockages. It's the lack of vitamin C creating the fractures, and the fractures create the blockages. If you have a good level of vitamin C, you don't have the fractures, therefore it does not matter what your cholesterol count is. But they can't prescribe vitamin C because it costs about $802 million to get whether it's natural or chemical, to get it approved through the FDA. That's average. That was 2010, I have the thing right here. But So for a drug to hit the market, they on average spend $800 million for you to see it on TV. Well, if you can't patent natural stuff, why would we spend $800 million? But they know vitamin C and a lack of it is direct connected to heart disease. Cholesterol isn't a problem. If you want to find out what your problem is, you really have a history of family, find out your homocysteine count.
You're what?
Your homocysteine count. They'll give it to you. And I will tell you, it's the precursor. If that's bad, you got an issue. If that's good, doesn't matter. You don't have an issue.
What's almost.
I mean, if you look at what's his name, the guy, the comedian, the cigars, short guy, George Burns. His homocysteine count was wonderful. How long do you live? Even though he eats cigars every day. How long do you live? 100, 101, 102. His homocysteine count was wonderful. And so, anyway,
What product has vitamin C in it then?
GPC.
The GPC.
Yeah, that's the C of this GPC. Yep. And so, and here's the cool side. If you take vitamin C, even if you get it to your bloodstream, it's effective for about an hour to 2 hours, then it drops harshly. Ours maintains about 8 hours before it goes away. So we take a couple times a day. Okay? Real quick, so I can finish and get you out of here. The Government Biomedical and Life Sciences Database, known as Medline. So if you want to do some research, Medline, MEDLINE.com, contains 21 million published studies on different drugs, natural stuff, everything else, on cancer, 21 million studies. Now, 2.6 of them contain references just on cancer alone. So some of them link cancer to multiple things. 2.6 of them are just cancer. Out of there, 612 natural substances that have known value and have tested positive for cancer.
How many?
612. That's where these studies came out on curcumin, glutathione, vitamin C, out of that 2.6 million. Okay? Number 4, okay, so all of that was number 3. Number 4, there's 5 pillars, and no, we won't take, these don't take much time. Okay, I designed that, that's why I know when I'm finished. I've done this speech in my head about 25 times in the last 2 days. Number 4, maximize oxygen and lean muscle. Okay, it means exercise. I'll give you 2 quick research things. I've got a lot of them, but here's 2 of them. 2,296 women in stages 1, 2, and 3 breast cancer. Study done by Brigham and Women Hospital and Harvard Medical School. They are adjacent to one another, both in Boston. They found the risk of death fell by 19% if all they did was walk 1 to 3 hours 3 times a week. In other words, cumulative. They walk, and it would add up to 1 to 3 hours. So if they walk a half an hour 3 times, it's 1.5 hours. Make sense? If all they did was stay in 1 to 3 hours a week, dropped by 19%. If they walked 3 to 5 hours per week, now granted, they already have cancer, their death rate dropped by over 54%.
What?
Just by walking 3 to 5 hours a week. Men, the incidence, the 2004 Danish research said they took 5,000 men from the age of 23 to 60. They wanted to see if fitness played a role in cancer prevention. It's called the Copenhagen Male Study. They found that moderate activity, which is 0.5 to 3 hours a week, greatly reduced all forms of cancer in men. Greatly was their outcome. They didn't give a percentage. Okay. They also, in that same, in the NLM, said this. Whether you have cancer or want to prevent it, exercise is a wonder treatment. That's the NLM that said that. A wonder treatment for greatly reducing, preventing, and management of cancer. And number 5 for pillars, eliminate toxins. You want to eliminate toxins. Remember when I talked about at the beginning of the day, I said, I go, what do we call her? Sue. I don't remember her actual name, but Sue, Dr. Sue. And I said, look, if I have it, what are some things? She said, get rid of deodorant, Don't wash your clothes in stuff you buy in a store. And don't wash your body with stuff you buy in a store. First three things. Before we even got into eliminate sugar and these other things. First three things. So again, we sell a laundry soap that's natural. You could use it as toothpaste. It tastes like caca. Wouldn't recommend it, but you could. It's natural. We don't use chemicals in it. Same with our fabric softener. Okay? It washes clothes. It's actually less expensive than Tide. You can probably buy something that's cheaper than Tide. I would imagine there's some cheaper soaps. But price-wise, and again, I'll say it, if everything being equal, one they know causes cancer, there's multiple things they know, one has none of them, you pick. Okay? They're saying eliminate toxins. Can you eliminate all air toxins? No, we're breathing air that has some toxins in it. But if you take care of the other pillars, that minimal, like we talked about, and I wasn't picking on Mike, because again, I said I used to drink a lot of Monsters, but if Mike had one Monster a month, that's a little hit to his health, right? I mean, it's not a big one, it's a little one. But if you take care of everything else, is that little hit going to hurt you? No. You know, it's like people on and again, I've coached people on diets, and I've been a trainer, I used to train trainers and that. I go, hey look, if you're eating right, you know, if you take a week and you eat great for 5 days, every week, 5 days you ate great, you had 2 days where you went, I'm going to not care. You know, pizza sounds kind of good. You know what? It's a birthday. Pick out cake. If you ate really good for 5 days, you have 2 days bad to eat, you've got a wonderful, healthy life ahead of you. The problem is, most of us eat a salad and go, I ate healthy. When did you have your salad? Oh, I don't know. Let's see. It's November now. And, or they eat where they think is healthy, and when they look at it and they compare it to an alkaline diet, also they find out it's not healthy. Some of the things that you will see that we've, and I will tell you, being a trainer and training trainers, some of the things that I hear that they teach people to eat, and you look at it on the alkaline diet, it's extremely acidic. If it's acidic, it's also making you, it's gaining you weight. Alkaline, you lose weight. And again, I'll say it, is everybody in the room perfectly on, we do all 5 pillars every day? No, I don't know of anybody. I mean, Becca's a fitness champion, but she does some things that are unhealthy sometimes. She's a human being. We can be human and still beat cancer. We can be human and still not get cancer. But you gotta live the 5 pillars as much as you can. Supplement is an important part. I don't care, because again, you can't get enough. And as you age, we don't make enough glutathione, and we don't synthesize CoQ10. We gotta get it. It's an enzyme. And it's not found in our daily diet, so it's kind of important. It's in our everyday cell activity. But if you take care of yourself, you can get away with stuff. And even when you sit down and you know, I hope you never have to coach somebody through cancer. I really do. I mean, it'd be great. But I'm silly. I really am silly. And one of my things is this. I think if we get enough of us teaching the 5 pillars, that we can put a heck of a dent in cancer. I know what they're doing. Cancer's only gotten worse. Statistics prove it. We have more cancer when Richard Nixon started this campaign and money fund. We have more today than we had then. And we have less people surviving. So what if, and I'm going to ask you a real simple question. I said we'd finish by 6 after, and we will, if you're looking at the time. What in these 5 is that hard? I mean, it doesn't have to be ours. You could go, they're Fresh and Natural Foods. A friend of mine owns it, Kerry, and he owns that. We started network marketing together, and I taught him the business, and he took that and started a different entrepreneur. Fresh Natural Foods. Can you buy another type of laundry soap? Are we the only natural laundry soap? No. But wouldn't it make sense to buy one? It doesn't have to be ours. It could be ours, but it doesn't have to be. But if everything that Mike wears is still clean, smells good, but has nothing that's going to harm his body, wouldn't that make sense? Is that a hard switch? No. How about soap? Hand soap. Is that a hard switch? I mean, you're going to put one on the counter anyway. Right? Fabric softener, extremely toxic. If you can get it, those little things, extremely toxic. It's mostly formaldehyde. Those little, what do you call those things? Dryer sheets, yeah. If you don't want mice or rats in your house or your camper.
Oh.
Put laundry seats in there, because the rats and mice will go, I ain't going in there, that's toxic.
We put them under the rugs in our car for
Yeah.
the back mat when we're out for in the woods and stuff.
Yeah.
Keeps the spiders and stuff.
Keeps spiders away. It's wonderful for things that don't want to die. Is that a hard switch?
No.
No, we have a natural. Again, are we the only one? Are we the only one that sells cricket? No. You just happen to be a really good one. Best I've seen. That's why I'm here. So these are switches. And again, I'll ask you, is there anything that I said today in those 5 that are that hard?
No.
Clean water. Try to stay away from chlorine and benzene and atrazine and chloride and chloridine. That's in your water, in case you wonder. Then they had another toxic chemical called fluoride, extremely toxic, kills people every year. More people die from that than lightning. Yet more people are afraid of lightning. I'm afraid of 2 things.
Chlorinated pools.
Yep, toxic. There's other ways to do pools, but let me ask you, I'm going to go back to, okay, she made the comment, if you didn't hear it, and there's some people on camera, if she goes chlorinated pools. Again, if, I'm going to go back to Mike's statement, that's why I used Mike, because Mike knew, he knew I wasn't picking on him. But if you, all the 5 pillars, are you a walking, talking, butt-kicking, cancer-killing machine? Say yes.
Yes.
You do these 5 pillars. And if you arm yourself not only with this, but again, hopefully it makes sense on these other things with chemicals and limited time. And then you go into a pool, good day, bad day. Good day, it's hot, right? We're not going to go into cold now. It's not going to hurt you. Do you see where I'm going with that? If you prepared your body and then heat, when I hit you, did that hurt?
A little bit.
Little bit. Did I break his leg?
No.
No. Now, if I hit his leg that hard right now, it hurt like, don't use that word, it hurt a lot. I wasn't playing. I wanted to get your attention. I'm not playing on this topic. And I'm going to go back to your statement. If you're a butt-kicking, cancer-killing machine, and you go in chlorine, bring it on, baby. Right? But if you go out and take a bunch of sugar, you add a bunch of chemicals, you don't have enough glutathione and CoQ10 in your body, so your cells are running weak, then you go in that chlorine quite a bit, good day, bad day.
Bad day.
Bad day. Who has some of the highest cancer rates in all society? Swimmers. Because they're not arming their body and they're going in chlorine every day. And then the water's warm, which opens your pores, so you suck in more chlorine. You want to eliminate chlorine out of a glass of water? Stick your finger through it. Count to 3. Now test for chlorine. I used to be a water analyst. I know it seems weird for my background, but 3 seconds. Count, put a glass of water. They test it for chlorine. Turns yellow. Put your finger in for 3 seconds. Pull it out. No chlorine. Where's that chlorine?
In your skin.
In your skin. In your body. But if you're a butt kicking, do you care? But if you're not butt kicking, you add that bad day. That's why the 5 pillars are so important. I don't care what it is. We use the same 5 pillars to beat arthritis. It's not unbeatable. How do I know? I used to have it. I don't anymore. These used to click. I play softball and I play third, and sometimes I'm not that good, so I break fingers. Tape them up, let's go. I'm just not the brightest guy, that's why they put me at third. But I'm telling you, again, I'm going to go back to, if you prepare your body, it can take on amazing things. This is my belief. Remember I said I'd go facts and belief? It's my belief. God made amazing, amazing things in people. We have the ability to do things that animals can't. We have the ability to do things that if you really understood it, are amazing. But like the Jenga, am I saying that right?
Mhm.
You pull enough sticks out, how many people aren't living this way? That's why cancer is 50-some%. It's not that their bodies were designed for cancer. It's not. But we pulled so many damn sticks out, cancer was inevitable. all I'm asking for you guys is, if you know the 5 pillars, live them a lot. And if you know me, I'm not one of those, I'm not over the top. Becca's much more disciplined on some things and whatever, but I can tell you, I live it most. I'm pH, I'm very alkaline, I check that regular. If I'm not alkaline, that's shocking. And I know, and I'll go in and I'm gonna make sure I'm gonna take more enzymes, more electrolytes. Why? Because that's critical to my health. Am I a perfect specimen of health? No, I need to lose 28 more pounds. I just lost 10, today officially weighed in. I'm excited about that, I got more to lose. I'm not perfect either, I'm not expecting anybody in this room to be perfect. But if you can live it 5 out of 7, go in that chlorine and enjoy it. Don't do it in fear. I'm not telling you to live in fear, because living in fear isn't a way to live either. But if you take care of it, you live by 5 pillars, know that you're a machine, you're a killer. You take that attitude, you don't bring it on. I don't fear cancer the way I did before I started doing a lot of this research. It used to be something, man, I used to think about, man, what would I do? What would I do with my kids? You know, again, this was just, 4 3/4 years ago, not quite 5 years ago, I thought I had cancer. My kids are 11 now. You figure out that age, and I'm going, what if? Because you can't, you wait for the test, right? And I've been there. I remember, and my wife had it before, and I remember that test coming back, and they said it's way more advanced. And I tell you, the prayers that went through there wasn't an hour that didn't pass. I'd wake up in the middle of the night praying. I can live with a lot of things not in my life. I remember losing my house when I was a land developer. I had all this money, I lost all my money, all my bank accounts, watched my boat go up my driveway, and it was nice. It was the kind of boat that I'd always dreamed of. Lost my truck. I got this great big house. I was now going to have to empty it. She never left my side. I can live without any of that. I live the way I live right now. I'm not rich. My kids are wonderfully healthy. They're amazing. So my wife. I got amazing friends. I get to teach people how to be healthier all the time. People go, why do you do this business? This isn't a pitch to the business. But if you've ever had a thought in your mind, I'd love to help people make a living doing it. And the more I help them, the better they live their life, the better you get to live yours. That's what I get to do every day. That's a badass way to wake up. And sometimes I get to work doing trees or do some other stuff, but I can't wait to do this. I can't wait if one of you lives the 5 pillars and comes up and they go, I lived healthier, or I don't have this, I helped a friend live the 5 pillars and we defeated cancer. Every ounce of energy, there is lots of study in this. There's a lot of hours. And I'd do it again for one of you. That's what I did today. I mean every word of it. And if you're looking and want to wake up every day that way and wake up helping people, this isn't a bad business. We're not the best pay plan if that's what you're looking for in network marketing. We're not the only network marketing. But we're a good one. I've done Dare to Compare. I've never lost. I've had lots of companies come and go, we got better products. Bring it on. I'm here because I've never lost. Not because of a pay plan. I've done that. I've been in the industry 21 years. I've done the young guy stuff and the fancy clothes and the cool cars and, I've done it. What a complete waste of time. Give me one of you that lives these 5 pillars. So, hope it made sense. I know I went over the 6 minutes, I'm sorry. But if you have any questions, I'm going to hang out here. I'm not going anywhere until everybody gets all their questions answered. So we'll hang out. Thank you. God bless.